So how are you liking it?
No, it's dope.
Yeah.
Once again, it's just a little jarring to hear my voice in my head.
I know. The second
And I
second
have my
camera.
own camera too, so to do my own crazy
Well,
shenanigans.
it was funny because Tyler was like, "I look really white on that." I'm like, "I think it's just the screen."
No, I like this part of my skin looks like it's actually white.
Yeah,
Like,
it's just the screen. It looks decent. I've already recorded something using that, and it looked fine.
I feel like skin as hell, actually. Yo,
You feel what?
I've
Dude,
said I
stop
feel like
hitting the
I'm
man. Look at the podcast etiquette you're gonna have to learn.
the podcast etiquette.
yeah, you can't just
I have
be-
no etiquette.
I know you don't. That's what's sad.
Exactly.
No, we're gonna have to teach you.
No.
It's gonna be just like what's the musical? Shoot. My First Lady. I am the rich guy teaching the poor girl how to properly speak. That's what's gonna happen here.
Never.
Yeah, that's true. You just like the fact that the evil laugh sounded even more evil, didn't you? Your hand was in my. Don't do that.
I'll do it again.
No, don't. Please don't. I have to sit through this whole thing just to find a good starting point. It's not worth it.
All right, guys, and welcome to the Blue Kids Podcast. I'm Darius Crosley.
And I'm Frank Joseph All, and hopefully this time is the time where the cameras will decide to actually work. Well,
Listen,
the one that wasn't working the first time.
As long as mine records, as long as mine is the one that's recording and yours isn't.
Well,
they
no,
can look at the
if
glorious
one
thing.
of them is not working, just like last time, then I'm not going to post the video because then it's just one person. That's awkward.
It's not awkward. It's
awkward.
funny.
No,
It's funny, especially if it's me. I'm a very entertaining person when I'm bored.
it's debatable. Hi, everybody. If you're new here, this is we're currently in week 2 of Marvel Month.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, the first week. Go ahead and take a listen. You could watch, but there's not much to watch. Tyler and I basically just do a run through of what MCU movies do you need to watch before Endgame. And you'll be surprised. It's only like 9 of them.
Yeah, I wasn't there for that podcast, which they could have easily got me to that podcast, but
Well-
somebody didn't call me. Or rather, 2 set of people didn't decide they didn't want to call me. It's okay. No.
To be
It's
fair,
okay.
it was
It's
one of
okay.
us.
No.
I'm not gonna.
It's okay.
It's one of us, and I'm not gonna throw the person under the bus. It was me.
Exactly. That's why I'm looking at you while I'm saying this. I feel really robbed, guys.
Anyway,
feel really robbed.
We only have so much time, Darius.
All right. So what are we doing now?
So I figured I wanted you on this one because,
I'm actual connoisseur of movies.
well, I mean, you've seen the movies.
Exactly. So I'm
Yeah.
actual connoisseur.
So we're because when we're recording this, it's March.
Yeah.
Spoilers, or I guess not spoilers, but breaking of immersion. We're recording this in March, and what is something that always happens in March? Brackets. Everyone's favorite things, brackets.
It's March Madness, baby.
Yeah, I don't care about football.
It's not football.
I know it's basketball. I'm not stupid. That's the joke. I understand. But yeah,
I
everyone,
feel insulted.
you should. Everyone loves brackets. You always see even like the nerdy people. Do brackets of various things. So what I have here,
I still feel insulted about March Madness.
I don't care.
I know you don't care, but
What I
feel
have
insulted.
here is a list of 16 MCU specific movies. They are listed from 1 to 16 in how much box office they made. I have switched out one movie because there was one movie that did not make the list and a movie that did, and I was like, that one should not be on this list. I'm switching them out. We'll get to that when we get to it. But here are because there are, at the time of this recording, 21 movies.
Yeah.
So yeah, some are going to be off. So the first one off the list is Iron Man 2. This is the one that should technically be on the list, box office wise.
Yeah.
But it sucks.
Iron Man 2 wasn't that bad.
It was pretty bad.
It wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
And then again, once again, like, spoiler alert, Frank is the actual like movie connoisseur.
Yeah.
Like, and I am just like a filthy casual. So
Yeah,
like
well-
the movies that he thinks are bad.
Well, we'll find
well,
out
9
when
times
we
out
get
of-
through this list.
9 times out of 10, I probably think they're probably pretty decent,
Well,
or there was like, there were some issues with it, but it was overall an okay movie.
We'll find out when we make this list. So Iron Man 2's off. That's the only one that I replaced. Thor: The
Okay.
Dark World is not on this list either. It did not make enough money.
Okay, that movie was trash. So I'm
Yes,
not
it
gonna-
was. The first Ant-Man did not make this list.
Really?
Yeah, I know. It didn't make that much money, which is surprising
Alright.
considering considering it. The first Thor also did not make enough money.
Okay, for the first two Thor movies, I think everyone can agree were
It
trash.
definitely got better in Ragnarok for sure.
Right.
And then the Incredible Hulk, I believe, is the lowest performing of all the MCU movies.
Which is actually kind of disappointing because, well, actually, no. Actually, when you sit there and think about it, when you actually
to be fair, Edward Norton, he was kind of just okay. I like Mark Ruffalo a lot more.
And if you think about it from like an actual aspect, it's very hard to make a Thor movie because
You mean a Hulk?
a Hulk movie.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think they basically introduce him a second time in Avengers anyway, and I think at that point you could just watch that and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right. So again, they're listed based solely off of how much block money they made while in theaters.
Okay.
That's basically it.
So this is us like out of all the box office ones.
So we're gonna do, they're paired up, and then we're
Yeah.
gonna pick which one we think out of the two is best, and moves on, and then we're gonna hopefully see between the two of us what's the quote unquote best MCU movie.
So this is gonna be us either agreeing in complete unison or
I'm gonna give us
debate.
a limit of 2 minutes in the first round per thing, and then we're gonna whittle it down even more because we only have about 30 minutes. You might see that we have longer. I don't know. We'll find out. So anyway, first matchup. This is going to be pretty easy. Black Panther versus Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yeah. I mean, that one's pretty obvious. Even though there are some issues with Black Panther, it's still better than Ant-Man and the Wasp. Did you see Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Unfortunately, no.
You didn't miss anything. I was bored in the movie. I was so bored.
I actually want to see it.
I mean,
I actually want to see it.
You can. I just, it was rather boring to me. Not much in, like, all the interesting stuff was in the trailer.
Really?
And even that stuff wasn't interesting to me.
Really?
Yeah. Like,
once again, I'm probably gonna watch it for myself because
do that.
Your rating of movies and my rating of movies are completely two different things. Like you could call it boring, and I could be like, it wasn't that bad. The pacing was a bit.
Yeah, but between the two, Black Panther definitely. I think. Yeah. Makes it there. All right. This one's gonna be a little bit more interesting. So at the 8th slot is Spider-Man: Homecoming. Mm-hmm. At the 9th slot is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Spider-Man.
Interesting. Why?
Because Spider-Man.
See, I like Spider-Man: Homecoming, but I think the best part of that movie is easily Michael Keaton as the Vulture. Easily.
Yeah.
The best part. And so obviously if you compare villain to villain, 10 times better than Ronan. But I really like, but Guardians Spider-Man. Is also, you have to also recognize that Guardians came out of nowhere and surprised everybody.
Guardians did come out of nowhere, and I think, I mean, this one is a bit difficult, but if I'm thinking about this from sheer fandom, I'm gonna go Spider-Man. But if I'm thinking about this from like in terms of like how bold they were with the take that they did, it's gonna be Guardians. Because I think I'm gonna go, and I was sitting here talking about I'm gonna go with Guardians because Guardians actually, if you want my honest opinion, Guardians broke the trend of how serious these movies were.
Yeah, it definitely did,
and it made it very light. It made it very lighthearted, and it actually, what makes it even funnier is that they essentially almost completely broke the trend that the Guardians had of the Guardians being very serious, and Rocket being the one who's comedic relief to all of them at one point or another being comedic.
Yeah, they all definitely make jokes constantly, and I think it's really good in that regard. I like Spider-Man: Homecoming, but I think because I've seen too many Spider-Man movies, that's probably why it's not the best. Also, I'm just not a fan of. I'm not a fan of John Hughes teenage drama, awkward comedies. Like, I wonder who I'm going to go to the dance with. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care who you're going to the dance with.
Vulture needs to be stopped. Go get him.
But again, the third act twist with Michael Keaton being the father, and then that whole car ride, best scene in the movie easily. When I'm like, please tell me he's realizing Peter's part. Oh, this is now interesting. Best part, easily.
No,
but,
my favorite part of that was when Peter was just staring at him the entire time, angry.
I straight up thought Michael Keaton killed her parents and the family, and just took their spot. And then and then the wife shows up. I'm like, I don't believe they're married until they kiss. And then they kiss. I'm like, oh no. But we'll give it to Guardians.
All right, we'll give it to Guardians. That's fine.
All right. So number 4 is Age of Ultron. Okay. And in the 13th slot where Iron Man 2 would go is Captain America: The First Avenger. I am a fan of that movie. I think a lot of people underappreciate it.
No, that is a great movie.
It is it shows you who he is perfectly. Like, it's a great character piece. I think a lot of people don't like the second half, but I kind of like the montage-y parts because it feels reminiscent of those style of movies.
Yeah.
But But
Dang.
versus Ultron, which Tyler and I both agree we like the interaction of the characters more in Ultron versus the first Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the plot kind of does drag.
Yeah.
And-
Is plot. I mean,
Yeah.
it does lose a plot, but
And they have to do a lot. They have to set up Scarlet Witch,
Right.
Quicksilver, and Vision, and Ultron, and Sokovia, and yeah. So which one? What are you thinking? Ultron versus Cap, the first Avenger. I personally want to give it to Cap just a little bit more because Ultron, sure, we have some cool moments in Ultron, but I feel like we have obviously the Hulkbuster fight is fantastic. But like,
I wouldn't even think about the whole Buster fight. I was
fight.
thinking about the whole fight where they were like all surrounded and they were just like going in.
Yeah,
that whole montage right
but
there.
I think
that was
that's
a great montage.
I think it's done better in the first movie.
It is done better than the first movie. But at the same token of that, I'm going to counter argue with you about that and say that the only reason the first movie was better was because they were in a more open space.
Yeah,
that one they were in a very restricted spot.
That is true. I don't know. I still think the characterization of Cap in Cap, the first Avengers, better than per se any of the characters. I like Hawkeye's farm and stuff like that, but I think overall I'd rather watch the first Avenger before I watch Ultron because Ultron's longer and there is a point where I'm like, oh, okay, can we hurry this up?
Yeah, I agree with that.
So Cap one.
Cap one.
All right. Next up, Iron Man 3 at the number 5 spot and Thor Ragnarok in number 12. Actually surprised. I'm surprised Ragnarok is that low box office.
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok. Oh, I know. So
Iron Man 3 was trash.
So what's funny is Iron Man 3 is supposed to be.
It's got some of my favorite suits in there, like the Heartbreaker. I forget what mark that is, but the mark where it's the Heartbreaker.
Well, that's the third act is basically here's every suit we could do possibly.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
What's funny is they're both pseudo comedies because Iron Man 3 is directed by Shane Black, and a lot of people like it because they love Shane Black movies. He did like Kiss, Bang Bang, The Nice Guys, Lethal Weapons 1 and 2. But obviously, some people hated it.
I feel like that movie, like I feel like that movie could have been done better.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that movie could have been done. Yeah. That's the only reason I'm giving it to Thor Ragnarok is because
Ragnarok was so good. It came out of nowhere.
Like the expectation from the trailer and what I got in the movie were two entirely different things.
Really, I felt like the trailer in Ragnarok was selling it as a cheesy 80s movie, and I was like, okay, if the first line of Thor Ragnarok is "You're probably wondering how I got here" or some variation of it, I will love this movie. And it's so you're probably thinking to yourself, "Oh, Thor, son of Odin, how did you get yourself into here?" And I was like, all right, we're good. We are good. I love this movie. I love Ragnarok. I love Ragnarok
because one, this movie was a great movie.
Easily.
2, the Rising of the Ashes.
Yes,
Thor 1
the Thor series,
2,
yeah.
Thor 1
they
and
didn't
Thor
even make
2
the list.
were trash.
Yeah, they were pretty bad.
They were trash. Like it's one of those things where when you first watch it, you're like, me personally, it's like one of those things when you first watch it, it's like, oh, this is a pretty decent.
And then you rewatch it.
And then you rewatch it.
I'm sorry if there's kids coming through. Hopefully the mics don't pick that up.
You're like, what?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, the first one, it's like, oh, the Devastator armor.
Yeah, that was okay. Yeah, it was like the first one. I felt for me not being as well versed in the Thor, I was like, Devastator was like, oh, that's lit.
But the second one is definitely it sucks. The second one sucks, like to the point where you can straight up skip it, and then like it doesn't ruin it because all you need to know is one of the Infinity Stones goes to the Collector. But since in Guardians you find out the Collector is going to want to collect Infinity Stones, it would make sense he already has one. Yeah. So it's not the biggest thing. So anyway, Ragnarok. Yeah, Ragnarok. Easily. I love that movie. I can't wait to force Tyler to watch it. It's gonna be great.
Oh, that's gonna be great.
Okay, this one not necessarily tough. At number 2, Infinity War. Shocker. Okay. And then number 15, Doctor Strange.
Infinity War.
Yeah, Doctor Strange has the reverse of a lot of these problems. Where the third act I actually liked. I liked that he tricks the villain just being smart. He's like, I'm just gonna keep dying until you.
Dormammu. I've come to bargain.
Yeah,
I've come to bargain.
That is fantastic. I love that part. But yeah, it's got to be Infinity War.
I've come to bargain.
I don't think because I think Doctor Strange is even better in Infinity War than in his own movie.
Side note, I'm really liking these mics. I feel
I
like I
know,
can
they're
make like a
nice.
whole record. Like I feel like I can
Makes you want to record a second one, doesn't it?
No, not even record a second one. Like it makes me want to like record like I want to like go into the lab and start recording music, bro.
All right, take 5.
Yep.
If we get a mixer, we could try that.
Bro.
But anyway, that's a different topic. Infinity War for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Guardians 2 at number 7 versus Captain Marvel. This one's tough just because I feel like both of them are kind of mediocre a little bit, and that's why it's tough.
Captain Marvel.
I'd give it to Guardians 2 personally. I liked the characters. I think we talked about this in our car review.
Yeah.
Go ahead and watch that. Carol Danvers doesn't really have a character.
Yeah.
The writing,
But I mean,
writing's pretty bad for her.
the writing is pretty bad for her, but she makes up for it for good acting.
But I don't know, Chris Pratt and especially Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell does such a good job as Ego. The third act does kind of destroy it.
But yes, I was gonna say that, and I feel like with Captain Marvel, the entire cast as a whole helped bring this movie, especially in the third act. The entire cast with the keep on forgetting his name, Ben Reeton or something like that.
Oh, the Skrull dude.
Yeah, the Skrull dude.
He was pretty good.
Oh, Ben Middleton.
Middleton.
Middleton. Yes.
He was pretty good. He was really good.
If you're seeing this, bro,
Watch him.
You are the best character.
Yeah,
in the entire movie.
but then Jude Law sucks, or he doesn't suck, but he does nothing.
Yeah.
So that's a waste of Jude Law. He's not dead. Spoilers.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think I want to give it just a little bit more to Guardians 2.
Nah, I'm giving it to Marvel.
Okay, so then we'll just flip a coin. Heads or tails, sir?
Heads.
Heads. Okay, so if it lands heads, it'll go to Captain Marvel. If it lands tails, it goes to Guardians 2. We're flipping good old Hamilton. Okay, Captain Marvel.
That's what happens when you're a god like me, but it's okay.
You're not. All right. Number 3, the first Avengers movie. Versus, this is going to be tough. Number 14, The Winter Soldier. Right. Now,
Avengers.
See, the Avengers have gone down in quality for me a little bit.
I haven't rewatched it.
I think the beginning, it takes a little too long because it does have to set up all those characters, and interact with them. But like, I'm not a fan of, we are not getting along together. It takes a little too long personally.
But I feel like
Winter Soldier is so good. It's so good.
Winter Soldier is really good.
Oh man.
Winter Soldier. The only thing, like, it'd be different if it was like Winter Soldier versus Civil War, because Civil War would beat Winter Soldier.
Easily. I mean, not easily, but I think we both love Civil War.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Civil War would beat Winter Soldier down to the ground.
We'll get to that. I think Winter Soldier personally. I mean, the first Avengers movie's fun, but Winter Soldier's good.
The reason I'm going with the first Avengers though is because it breaks through the entire like superhero like genre.
Yeah, it does define it.
It defines
to the point where a bunch of other franchises outside of the superhero genre tried to do what Avengers did and have failed every time.
Like
every time.
Like the way they did this movie. Like,
no, I know. It's like, I think that's why it's so up there for a lot of people, is because of the fact that like you have to recognize this is groundbreaking.
No, that's the only reason I'm standing firm on my judgment with Avengers.
But I really like Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier was really good. Listen, that fight with Cap versus Bucky,
that was pretty legit.
With the whole knife and everything, and then just
an even better one is the elevator scene.
Oh my god, that is the elevator.
Let it be known
scene.
That is brilliant filmmaking, because you have tension mounting naturally. You're just like, oh, he gets in an elevator. Oh, more people, and then like you're with Steve and you're slowly starting to realize, oh, something's up. And then so before we get started, does anyone want to get off? Best line, and then they just, I love that scene so much. Oh, it's so good.
That scene alone makes that. I will say that scene alone makes that movie, but that scene
Robert
right there
Redford as the villain is fantastic.
That scene right there alone defines how serious this movie is.
The last time I trusted somebody, I lost an eye.
Oh my gosh,
that line is so good.
Yeah.
Until Captain Marvel. So anyway, are you still with Avengers or?
I have to flip a coin for it. Flip a coin for it. That's a coin.
So we'll do heads, Avengers, tails, Winter Soldier. Come on, tails. All right, the first Avengers movie.
All right, there we go.
All right, here we go. Another tough one.
All right.
Number 6, Civil War versus number 11, Iron Man. The first Iron Man.
Civil War.
See, but the first Iron Man's good,
The first Iron Man is good,
but it's
but
Civil War.
War.
Civil War's so good.
Like
It's just it's good. It's really good.
I'm just gonna skip all of it, and
We'll get there eventually. Don't worry. But listen, I know you're upset that we did Forced to Comply and you were not able to.
Oh, you think?
I know we might. Well,
You
I'm sorry,
think?
but that's actually the reason I ended up getting these second ones. Well, I'll explain to you.
Civil War of all movies. You had to do Civil War of all
so
movies.
good. Well, because Tyler,
No.
if you were here for our podcast where I explained the movies you need, sorry, but in the movies I was explaining to him that he needed to because he saw up to Age of Ultron, so he needs to see Civil War, Ragnarok, and Infinity War before he sees Endgame.
Why?
I'm sorry. We'll move on.
You could have made him watch Ragnarok.
No, because you need to see Civil War. Well, no, you're right. Yeah, you're right. I could have. You're
You
late.
could have made
Sorry.
him see, sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. I love Civil War. I give any excuse to watch it again.
Shut up.
Listen, if you move in with us, we'll watch it just for fun.
Oh, no, listen, that movie will always be in
It's so
whatever
good.
DVD player we have in here. Civil War will always be in there
It's
until there's another movie we need to
The
watch.
airport scene, the final fight scene. It was great. Anyway, now that's the end of the first 16. Only 18 minutes into this thing.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to have to speed round this. Here we go. Black Panther versus the first Guardians. It's tough because Black Panther does have its flaws. And I think that does lower its standards, even though the themes in Black Panther are fantastic.
And here's where I'm going to say Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
They redefined how to do their CG cities.
Cities. I was saying because that third act fight scene is pretty bad.
That third act scene is pretty bad, and it gets points knocked down for it.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of like the initial like scenery of the cities and stuff like that, like if you ask me, the Wakanda looks better than Asgard.
See, I think I'm going to give it to Black Panther as well because Guardians doesn't have the spectacular. Like its fight scenes are probably a little bit better.
Yeah.
Especially with the Nebula coming up, and I'm like, just shoot, and they shoot her. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
That was actually funny.
Yeah.
I love Black Panther's themes overall.
I love those scenes in superhero movies where it's just like, are you just shoot him already? Just shoot him, and they actually do it. And you're like, oh,
I do, except in Captain Marvel, where it's like, oh, that was cheap. That was your main villain, and then you just hit him.
No, I thought that was funny as hell.
I know you did. I mean, I thought it was funny too in the moment, and then I'm like, oh, that's kind of stupid.
That's funny as hell.
We'll give it to Black Panther because
okay,
the best parts of Black Panther are better than the best parts of Guardians 1. Okay, Cap the First Avenger versus Ragnarok. Now, as much as I love Cap the First Avenger,
Ragnarok,
it has to be Ragnarok. Because again, Cap, I can see people. I understand the issues people have with it. Right. I have not heard a single person have an issue with Ragnarok. Bro, it's so good.
It's so good. It's great.
Good. The biggest problem I think would be maybe some of the action scenes, like when they're trying to escape the Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
And like that one ship fight, it's a little okay.
The devil's anus.
But yeah, but I will say, but like I loved that that Taika tricked us because you think, oh, they're gonna do a immigrant song to an action scene, and they do it in the beginning of the movie. And you're like, okay, that's where they're gonna do it. And then when he comes back without the eye but the thunder powers, and they do it again, and I'm like, oh, you sly dog. You sly dog. Yeah, no, Ragnarok's fantastic. Yeah, no. And some of the imagery in that, you have to admit, some of the imagery in that is beautiful.
Bro.
It's so, like, Thor jumping with the lightning arcing into the zombies is beautiful. The Hela flashback Valkyrie fight. Oh, so good.
Come to the land of the ice and snow and the midnight.
Oh, this is going to be interesting. And by interesting, I mean not a contest at all. Infinity War versus Captain Marvel.
Infinity War.
Yep, that's what I thought. Next one. Sorry, we're skipping this one pretty quickly, but...
All right.
Yeah.
What's next?
The first Avengers versus Civil War.
Civil War.
Civil War is a better Avengers, even though it's a Cap movie.
Yeah,
Civil War is a better Avengers. I definitely agree with that because, let's be honest, some of the interactions in Civil War are the best.
Yeah.
That one scene where it's just Tony and Cap talking about whether or not to sign the Accords, just the two of them, is beautiful.
Yeah.
And I love how every single character, when they join the team, you completely understand who is on whose side and why they are. Like Black Panther would probably be on Cap's side normally. Like, oh, I don't trust outside forces to judge if I'm a superhero or not.
Yeah,
But it's the fact that he thinks
Bucky-
Bucky killed his father.
Yeah.
And that's why he's on Iron Man. I love all of that.
I just said it's like he's on Tony's side out of simple spite.
Pretty much. And then Black Widow being on Tony's side because she's like, look, it's the man. I don't want to deal with this crap again. I already had to during Winter Soldier. I don't want to deal with this crap again. Everything's great. Okay, down to the final four. So,
All right.
So this could be interesting.
Ready?
This could be tough.
Yeah.
Black Panther or Ragnarok?
Ragnarok.
Interesting. Wow, you went quick with that one. Why?
Because
we have some time. See, we sped through those, so we can take our time with these last few.
So Black Panther is a really good movie.
Again,
I'm all for the culture.
So the best parts of Black Panther, let's just say the best top 3 parts we can agree on. The thematics of like isolationism versus tradition, or like tradition versus advancement. You know,
I think one of my favorite scenes though in that entire movie
Michael B. Jordan
was
period.
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan
one of the best parts of that movie.
Any scene with Michael B. Jordan in it is really good because I feel like I think one of the reasons I like this movie so much is because it's for the cultures, for the culture so much. Anytime you see Michael B. Jordan's character, he is so much for the culture.
He's the American guy who grew up in, he's an African American, grew up in America, doesn't know anything about his homeland, finally gets a chance to figure it out, and it says, oh, you guys don't care about us? Excuse me?
Yeah.
Where were you when we were slaves? Yeah,
right.
It's really good.
It's just like I feel like he's so much like in that aspect of the movie. He's so much for the culture. His mindset is so much for the culture, and
then he goes super genocide on everybody, and that's where he becomes the villain.
Right.
Yeah.
He's so much for the culture of that movie. However, I'm knocking this movie simply because
what's the third best part of Black Panther? So we have themes, Michael B. Jordan. I would make an argue of Andy Serkis as Claw because he just doesn't care, and it's great.
No, actually, what I'm actually going to say is the technological advancements, like some of that stuff that you see in there, like while not all of it is good, not all of it's realistic,
correct,
but
some of the beads and
like
the world building is what you like. Yeah. Like the fact of like the 5 different tribes,
right? And some of those things, some of the stuff you see in there, it's almost like.
I love where it's like, I do love where it's like, all right, we're going to make him king. Do any of the tribes come up? No. Yes. Winston Duke, what are you doing? M'Baku, what?
Yeah. Right.
And like, I love the subtle imagery of M'Baku being the white ape with the coloring. Ape. Well, yeah, but they don't call him that anymore because that's offensive.
I don't really care.
No, I know. But anyway, versus Ragnarok.
Okay, and so this is why Ragnarok wins, because Ragnarok throughout the entire movie, the movie stays consistent.
Yes.
The movie the consistent.
Even when it slows down, it's still good.
I think the biggest problem with all these movies leading up, I think the only movies that did it really, really good with their pacing are Infinity War and any of the Guardians movies.
Civil War 2, I would argue.
Civil War 2 did really good pacing too. But the pacing, I get you. Like, and the pacing and the theme of the movie, you don't
feel bored,
right? The entire
like, oh, when's this over? Ragnarok is like, man, this is great. I just love the ride I'm on, especially when he's literally on a ride and they're playing Pure Imagination from Willy Wonka.
Yeah,
and then he's
and then it stops, and then he's just like,
Jeff Goldblum is fantastic. I pardon you from life. And then, it's consistently funny too. Like the problem with a lot of comedies, like Deadpool, I found 50% of the jokes funny. Granted, I'm not a crude humor dude.
See, that's why.
And so the fact that I found 50% of them funny is pretty good.
Yeah.
But Ragnarok, almost every joke lands. Look,
one
time Loki turned into a snake, and he knows how much I love snakes. So when I picked him up, he just stabbed me.
And he's like, oh, I got you. I'm like,
yeah.
We were 6 at the time. Or what? I don't remember. We were 6 at the time.
I know this isn't from Ragnarok, but still, it's like, Groot? Yeah, I took it as an elective in college. Like, the fact is, Ragnarok did such a good job with the characterization of Thor. You're still like, that's Thor now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Ragnarok.
So Ragnarok, definitely.
Ragnarok.
Oh, so this one's gonna be hard.
Infinity War, Civil War. Which of the wars? Infinity or Civil?
Gonna let you go first.
Oh, Civil War is my favorite MCU movie, bar none. It's so good. Like, again, because one, I love Cap, and it does focus around Cap more than anyone else. Versus Infinity War, let's be honest, does focus on Iron Man, which means Endgame's probably going to focus on Cap. We'll see. But I love Civil War. The airport fight scene is beautiful. The fact that the third act, they didn't have just a big, oh, we're fighting a bunch of Winter Soldiers. It's, no, Iron Man, you found out that Bucky killed your parents, and then it's just a really small personal fight. I love that. I love that.
Okay. And here is where I'm going to agree / disagree with you. I'm going to go with Ragnarok. I'm not Ragnarok. Well, as you can see,
spoilers.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. I'm going to go with Infinity War on this one.
Yeah.
Infinity War, the sole drive of this movie was Thanos.
It was. It was. I mean, and Iron Man, but yes.
He is a great villain. He's what I call an elder god tier villain.
Oh, he's pretty good.
Where his moral compass and everything, it blurs that line between good and evil.
Yeah.
And it almost makes it all like, even for like it just makes you for a split second. Like, he's one of those villains that make you think for like a split second
that you're wrong and he's right.
You're right.
Even though he wants, a lot of people do have a problem though, that like people like as smart as Doctor Strange or Tony Stark don't fight him on his ideology.
Yeah,
like, oh, if you have the Infinity Stones, why don't you make more things? And I've seen people be like, well, the Infinity Stones can only make things last temporarily. It's easier for the Infinity Stones to destroy rather than to create.
Right.
But they didn't make that argument in the movie.
Right.
No, I don't know, man. I can look past the issues of Civil War, and I can even defend some of them. Like, Zemo is fantastic. I love the fact that he's just like not a superpowered dude. He's just like, and like in the rewatching it, where it's like in the first scene where he shows up and he's like, listen, I just want to know what happened on that date where that videotape is. That's all I want to know. And if you tell me that, we'll be good. If you don't tell me that, then I have to kill a bunch of people, get the Avengers to hit, like, to this point of no return, and then I get the video. I don't want to do that. And then it's all because that one Hydra soldier was too prideful that he's like, nah. And he's like, okay, killing a bunch of people it is. I really like Zemo. I'll defend him a lot.
Yeah, and the fact that and what's even good about that too is that it's more of like, he's one of those villains that, like, a man of his own word. He's like, listen.
Oh yeah, he does what he says he's going to have to do, and he technically wins.
And he does win in the end.
And especially in Infinity, where we find out that Iron Man still holds a grudge against Steve, because he's like, oh, we broke up, and he's like, why don't you just call him? He's like,
yeah.
And Steve hasn't, and again, it proves the point why Cap is great. All right, heads or tails?
Yeah.
So heads for Infinity War, tails for Civil War.
Make me win.
Yeah, fine, good.
Oh, dang.
All right, Civil War versus Ragnarok.
All right.
Now, this is funny because Civil War is number 6. Ragnarok was number 12.
Ragnarok.
You're going to give it to Ragnarok?
Ragnarok.
But I think Civil War, out of all the MCU, because it's an MCU movie, it's perfect. It has a lot of characters.
Yeah.
All of them are serviced well. Each of them have an arc. Like, I think for the best MCU movie, it has to go to Civil War.
And here's where I'm going to debate you. This is don't get me wrong, the MCU is a really, like, the MCU has established what it is, right?
Yeah. But
I feel like Thor Ragnarok took the trend and flipped it upside down on its head.
But
I feel like from a movie going from your standpoint, it
has a creative direction.
It
definitely is Taika's style. I get that. Versus Civil War, you can argue it could have been made by anybody.
Right.
If we had to argue, I could see the arguing for the better movie being Ragnarok, but I'm not gonna fight on my baby. I love it.
We're both firm standards on this.
Like, I think just because it reflects the MCU as a whole, it's such a good movie, you know?
Yeah, don't get me wrong.
Now, that being said, Thor Ragnarok, you could watch on your own and not be surprised. Like, you could be like, oh, all this makes sense. It's pretty self-contained.
Yeah.
So, I get that. Flipping a coin. All right, heads for Ragnarok, tails for Civil War. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
The heart of the cards wins.
It was no cards at all. So
the heart of the cards.
So if we were to put this in an order, then it would be Ragnarok, Civil War, and then Infinity War, or I mean,
Yeah, Infinity War, because Infinity War is better than Black Panther.
yeah, and then Black Panther if we had to do that order. But honestly, folks, we're just happy the MCU is as good as it is.
Oh, honestly, yes.
Like,
This like looking back at it now, I like looking back from the first Avengers to now, you wouldn't think that these movies would be as great as they are now.
Definitely not. And
Like, you would think
Iron Man 1 is the only reason the movies lasted until
right.
Avengers 1. And then Avengers 1 allowed them to keep going further. And then since then, there's been some, like, I would say 2014, because that was Guardians and Winter Soldier. That's the year everyone's like, oh, we need to watch these.
Yeah.
Because they're good. And then since then, it's been fantastic. Well, thank you for joining us, guys. Obviously, when we say best, we mean subjective. Yeah. Of course.
This is our opinion alone.
And I am not agreeing with this opinion totally.
And if you don't like it, guess what?
You can watch other things.
Right.
So yeah. Thank you for watching this podcast. Again, hopefully the video is up. Some of you might be like, Frank, it's up. Stop being redundant. Sorry. We're recording this out. We don't know. But thank you for joining us. I'm Frank Joseph Hall.
I'm Darius Crossley.
See, you can't beatbox and talk at the same time. All right. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.